What's up, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Undrafted Views. We're here. We talk sports from the sidelines. And in today's video, we're going to answer the question, is the Cleveland Cavaliers a threat in the East? And how deep can they go in the playoffs? Let's get into it.
Cleveland Cavaliers are currently number 3 in the Eastern Conference with a record of 35-22. I cannot say that when this season started, I thought they would be number 3 in the East. I just can't say it.
Can you? Know I can't say. Matter of fact, I can't even say they would even be remotely in any type of standing between 1 through 10. That's how shocked I am. No, I'm being honest. I'm being honest. It may not be fair, but it is honest, right? And I'm telling you right now, this Cleveland Cavaliers team killing the game right now. I am so excited about them. And it's so cool that they actually have an all-star coming out of this particular roster at this time. It is just good for them. They are playing in the resurgence of Kevin Love. I'm like here for all of it. So it's really good. They are doing really good.
So the Cleveland Cavaliers currently have Darius Garland out nursing his back. But when I tell you he's leading the team in points, assists, and steals with 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 steal per game. Now, Darius Garland, I think he's up and coming. And he's also playing without his running mate, Collin Sexton. I think we failed to remember that. Collin was a big part of their offense as well in defense.
Yeah. And I would be remiss to not mention Ricky Rubio. I'm sorry, but although he may not know, he's no longer on the Cleveland Cavaliers roster. The fact that they are even remotely 1 through 6 in the Eastern Conference will be because he did what he needed to do when he was off the bench. So shout out to Ricky Rubio. I hate that he had to be traded, but for me, I can't. I have to. If I'm going to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers for this season, I might have to mention Ricky Rubio. So yeah.
Yeah. So would it be fair to say that the Cavs are a threat in the Eastern Conference?
It depends. And it depends. A threat in the Eastern Conference to maintain a 1 through 6 spot. Yes, they are a threat because we can see it today. Threat in the playoffs, I say it depends on their positioning. Now, where they will end up at the end of the season will determine whether or not they'll make it out of round 1, in my opinion. If they happen to play the Toronto Raptors, even the Boston Celtics, yes, I believe it could be, they could be a threat to those two teams. Now, if they, for some reason, or even the Brooklyn Nets at this point, especially if KD is not playing, right? Okay. So it depends on where they end up. That's what I have to say for them. But I don't think they will be a threat against the 76ers. I don't see them being a threat against the Miami Heat. I don't see them being a threat against the Milwaukee Bucks. So it just depends. So what they need to try to do is figure out where they're going to end up so they can see themselves in round 2 of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I have them being a threat in the East, but I'm telling you, the reason why is because they play the big ball lineup.
That is true.
Most teams in the NBA playing that small ball, but the Cavs have 3 legit big time centers in Mobley, Allen, and Markkanen. Now I'm telling you, Kevin Love, like you said, he's on his resurgence. Kevin Love is on pace to play the most games that he has played in recent years as a Cleveland Cavalier. And you got his experience in leadership and tenure with the Cavs, coupled with Rajon Rondo. They got rid of Rubio, but they have Rondo now. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And, I'm not really a huge fan of, I haven't been a huge fan of Rondo lately. I think that when he went to the Hawks, I was like, what are you doing? And then he went to, where did he go next? Oh, did he go back to the Lakers?
Back to the Lakers, and then
so that phase that he was. Oh, and then he was with the Clippers. Really, when the Clippers traded Lou Williams for Rajon Rondo, I blew a gasket. However, now Rajon Rondo, I believe, is with a team that will appreciate who he is, where he maybe feels more comfortable in being a leader. And I think he's great at leading the second unit of this particular roster. I appreciate that. Now I'm starting to appreciate the old Rondo. I'm just saying, I didn't at first. During that time frame, I was like, "Ooh, get up, bye," But now I appreciate that. I just think that when we're talking about championship aspirations, I see what Cleveland did. right? So you already have Kevin Love, who is an NBA champion. You got Rajon Rondo, who is a two-time NBA champion, right? Recently, at that point, because he won with the Lakers in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, need we not forget, Jarrett Allen was in the bubble with the Brooklyn Nets when they were number 7 in the 2020 season, right? Although they got swept by Toronto, he was still a part of that playoff run. So we have a group of individuals that understand what the postseason looks like. One from a
Right.
leadership and then one from a player, right? So it's like I think that the Cleveland Cavaliers have set themselves up for that playoff run and to go deep because of the things that are happening in their roster and happening with their playing right now. So yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Again, it depends on the matchup. So yeah.
Yeah, it does. And I have them, oh man, if they play the Raptors, I have them screeching by them. However, because they're such a big team, I mean, if they play the Bucks, the Bulls, or the Sixers, I don't know. It really just depends. It does. Injuries will play a big factor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
But
But
the
that's with any
Cavs have
team.
the size to go up against, Milwaukee and Joel Embiid and the Sixers. They I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I still think that the Sixers will be successful in a 7 series playoff run against the Cavaliers. However, if you notice, these teams are now saying we need more. We need height. So I get the small ball, but when it shows up where you need it, i.e.,
Mhm.
Warriors, you're like, oh, wait a minute,
Yeah.
maybe a little too small. Like small
Mhm.
ball works as long as you got a big man that can come off the bench. They can't wait for James Wiseman to come off the bench. They can't
Right.
wait. Right. So I understand it. But when you have a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers showing the other teams that no bigs can still get, they can still get it. And matter of fact, so much so that your small ball ain't working here. I think that the Cleveland Cavaliers, the way that they're playing, has brought an heightened awareness to these players, to these teams that have the small ball lineup, main small ball lineup, where they're realizing that, wait a minute, now if we have someone like the Cleveland Cavaliers that have these bigs, and then they also got perimeter shooting. Wait, hold up,
Mhm.
pause. We need to kind of think of something else. And I think that's what the Cavalier team has done for some of these teams. They won't admit it, but that's what I'm seeing. So
Yeah. Now Mobley might be rookie of the year. I mean, I think he's definitely a top 3 candidate. Absolutely.
absolutely, absolutely. And remember when we watched him play? I feel like I know him personally, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my gosh. So he was great in high school. So I mean, like, just to see him now developing as a professional basketball player it's so good.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty cool.
absolutely love it. So yeah, the Cleveland Cavaliers, because of their standing right now in the Eastern Conference, because of all
Mhm.
the things we just talked about with the veteran leadership and playoff and championship experience. Now, the
Yeah.
only thing that I do worry about is, do their coach have playoff experience?
Coach Bickerstaff is.
Yes.
Mm.
I
don't know
don't
if he
know. Drop down
does.
in the comments if he does. Maybe not as a head coach, but maybe as an assistant coach somewhere. Let me know, because that will be something that, will he be able to out scheme? Now, yeah, I do believe that the Cleveland Cavaliers can perhaps come above or win a 7-game series against the Toronto Raptors, but Nick Nurse, right, can Coach Bud. I mean, can
Mhm.
you out scheme your coach? Because it's just a little bit more, it's about the players, but also it's about the scheme, right? And sometimes your coaching scheme can be what will send your team to the next round. So I just kind of worry about that. So, but
Yeah.
great that they have Rondo, because I think he'll be able to help. Great that they have Kevin Love with his experience. So that may be enough to kind of get them over. But that will be something that I'm going to be looking forward to when they make it to the playoffs, especially round one. What does that coaching look like, and can it be, can they get it, can they move forward with him, in that,
Mhm.
once he
Yeah.
gets that one, series under his belt, then I would say, okay, great. But it's just that, as a head coach. So I'm just,
Okay, got it. All right, so let's look at the next 5 games for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Obviously, we have the All-Star break, but before then, they played the Atlanta Hawks, they played Detroit Pistons, Washington Wizards, the Timberwolves, and the Hornets. How do you think they'll do?
I think they'll go 3-2 in this particular run in the next 5. I have them beating the Hawks I have them beating the Pistons. I mean, at this point, if you ain't beating the Pistons, I don't know what you're doing. The Wizards, only because they've made some changes to their roster, and I think that it's going to take some adjustments. And I have them losing to the Timberwolves, and I have them losing to the Hornets.
Okay. I have them going 4-1 on this stretch. The only game I'm had them losing is to the Timberwolves because the Timberwolves, they're playing great basketball right now. And in Cleveland, I don't know that they're ready for Karl Anthony Towns. I just don't know.
I agree. I agree. And, Anthony Edwards is over there shaking it up. So,
oh man, the Timberwolves are playing great. So I do have the Cavs losing to them. But other than that, I think the Cavs are definitely a threat in the Eastern Conference. I think their big ball lineup will give a lot of teams fits in the playoffs. And looking to see who they're going to be matched up with as the season dwindles down. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap up this episode on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Make sure you drop down in the comments and let us know if you think the Cavs are a serious threat in the Eastern Conference. And we will see you guys on the next one. But until then,
peace, y'all.
Peace.